What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel, and for today's Yu-Gi-Oh news video, I'm actually going to be talking about a brand new archetype that'll be coming out of the next core set, Power of the Elements. It is known as the Vernalizer archetype. I guess judging by this first card that I'm looking at, I'm assuming it has to do with I'm assuming it might be another one of those isekai archetypes, which is a possibility. I don't really know the full story of this archetype, but there are, I believe, 7 cards to talk about, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. If you guys do, and you guys want to see more videos like this, which typically get posted on every Tuesday, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and on Instagram. All the links will be in the description, below. And if you guys want to send fan mail, and you guys want me to open it up on the channel, the info will also be in the description as well. Let's get straight into it. First up, we have Vernalizer, Fairy of Hills and Blooms, which is a 4-star. Which is a 4-star Earth Fairy with 200 attack and 2000 defense, and its first effect is a once per turn. The first effect reads: you can discard this card and one other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except Earth monsters. Also add one Vernalizer Fairy card from your deck to your hand except this card. Then you can special summon an Earth monster from your graveyard. So the thing about this is that they could have worded it a bit better by saying you can discard this card and one other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card, add one Vernalizer Fairy card from your deck to your hand except this card, then special summon an Earth monster from your graveyard, and you cannot activate monsters or effects for the rest of this turn except Earth monsters. If they worded it like that, it would have made a lot more sense. But what's cool about this effect is that this works in conjunction with this. I believe this could work in conjunction with gadget decks, and I think Morphtronic decks, because I think Morphtronics are mostly Earth. If I remember correctly, you can even also use this on the Magnet Warrior archetype as well. So I think I might have to implement this archetype. Into one of those decks. I'm not so sure, but it's a really great way to not only get board advantage over your opponent, but what's cool about this card is that this is basically your combo starter for the whole deck, which is really good. And also it acts as a hand trap monster reborn, which is really good. And then the second effect says Vernalizer Fairy monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effect. So it acts as a protection for the entire archetype itself, which is really good. By the way, this is Mountain Dew, in case you guys are wondering. Big shout outs to Mountain Dew, not sponsored, just love Mountain Dew. Anyway, next up we have Vernalizer, Fairy of Forests and Awakening, which is a 2-star Earth Fairy with 900 attack and 1800 defense. Both of its effects are once per turn. First effect reads: you can discard this card and one other monster or Vernalizer card. You cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn except Earth monsters. Also send from your deck to the grave an Earth monster that can be normal summon or set. Then you can special summon an Earth monster with a different name from your graveyard. Okay, so it does come as a sort of like a 3-for-1 sort of, because not only are you discarding this card and another monster / Vernalizer Fairy card, but you're also Foolish Burialing one of your one of your monsters to your graveyard, and then you resummon one of those monsters from your graveyard. So it does come as a 3-for-1, but as long as you're able to obtain board advantage over your opponent, you know, such as going into your rank 2 plays, like I think let me check my binders and see what would be a good rank 2 for this archetype. Because I think the first one I talked about was a 4-star. Yeah, so I believe okay, wait a minute, what? Guys, I'm looking at this right now. The card says 4-star, but they wrote it as a 2-star, so I'm assuming it's a 4-star. Okay, so they did word it wrong. They did word it wrong as a 4-star. I didn't realize it. But what would be some good rank 4? I think the Utopia package could be one. Could be a really good rank 4. I think Utopia could be a good rank 4. I know that that Exciton Knight could be another really good rank 4 as well. What else? Castel would be another good rank 4. Let's see. Cards like, you know, old cards that never see get play. You know, Tin Archduke could be one. Photon Alexandra Queen could be another good one. As far as like rank 3s, if this deck did run 3-star monsters, then cards like number 49 Fortune Tune could be a good rank 4, or sorry, rank 3. Number 51 Finishes a Strong Arm could be another good one. Number 57 could be a really excellent 4-star as well, which would be really nice. Battlecruiser Dianthus could be a pretty decent one. Musa Rhythm, the String Gen. I'm just like looking at my binder right now. Battlecruiser Dianthus. Mech-equipped Engineer could be one. As well, Unformed Void if you were going up against the number monsters. If you were going up against an NXC's heavy base deck, then yeah, it could be pretty useful. Unformed Void didn't really see a lot of play back in the day, but Unformed Void could be a really decent one depending on how you play it. But yeah, again, with this effect, it does come as a 3-for-1, but as long as you're able to get board advantage over your opponent, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And then the second effect reads you can target one Vernalizer Fairy monster you control, double its attack until the end of this turn. So it acts with this effect. It's kind of like a limiter removal, but for this archetype, which is pretty cool. Alright, you guys, next up, let's see, we have Vernalizer Fairy of Flowers and Fields, which is a 3-star Earth Fairy with 600 attack and 1600 defense. And I'm looking at the artworks of these, and they look like something out of Winnie the Pooh, honestly. Because those are like some of the vibes I'm getting. Some a mix of Winnie the Pooh mixed in with Peter Pan, maybe. Somewhere around there, in my honest opinion. Because if you look at the Fairy of Force and Awakening, there's a bear. There's a bear and a fairy, so I'm assuming it has something to do with, it's a resemblance to Winnie the Pooh because of the rabbit as well. Oh yeah, definitely getting some Winnie the Pooh vibes. So it's sort of like a Disney archetype, if you will. I think you can. It's still on YG organization. Big shouts to them. No copyrights. You guys know how it works with the algorithm, but it is on there. you'll have to dig through the pages to find it, but yeah, I'm getting some really some unique Winnie the Pooh vibes on this archetype. Alright, so the first effect is a once per turn. Pretty much the same. Discard this card and one other monster or Vernalizer fairy card. Cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the turn except Earth monsters. Also add an Earth monster from your grave to your hand except this card. This will summon an Earth monster from your graveyard. So this actually comes, funny enough, this actually comes as a 2 for 2. Crazy enough. So you're sending both this card and another monster to your graveyard, and then you're adding a monster from your grave to your hand, and then you're activating Monster Reborn. So it acts as sort of like a 2 for 2, which is not too bad. In fact, I think Hills and Blooms acts as a Rhoda, if you will, for the entire archetype. Force and Awakening acts as a Foolish Burial, and then this one acts as a monster reincarnation of sorts, which is really good, with a Monster Reborn effect, which is really cool, which is really good. So it's not too bad of an archetype, but it all depends on how you play. It depends on how the deck gets built. I just might have to build this one, honestly. I know I'm a little creepy. I know I may sound creepy by saying that I might want to build this deck, but I just might. I just might. It's intriguing. And then the second effect, I believe they all have like protection. Sort of, yeah. They have their own like second effect of sorts. So the second effect of this one reads: your opponent cannot target Vernalizer fairy monsters you control with card effects. So that's actually pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Next up, we have Vernalizer, Fairy of Mountains and Melty, which I believe is the last monster in this archetype for now. And again, this is coming out of Power of the Elements, which will be released in August this year here in the TCG. So I'm assuming the OCG will have this, I would probably say, within the next couple months. So within the next like 2-3 months, I presume. So there's going to be a lot of cards to talk about. In fact, there's quite a few actually that I'm going to be talking about over the next several weeks. So make sure you guys stay tuned. But let's see here. So next up we have Vernalizer, Fairy of Mountains and Melting Snow, which is a 3-star Earth Fairy with 1100 attack and 0 defense. And yeah, I'm looking at the card. It's definitely Winnie the Pooh vibes, because the water looks like honey a little bit. Let's see. Both of its effects are once per turn. Discard this card and one other monster or Vernalizer Fairy card. You cannot activate monster effects for the rest of the checks that Earth monsters. Also draw 1 card, then you can supposed to summon an Earth from your grave. So it's not too bad. I mean, yeah, you are able to draw a card, so it does come as a 2-for-1 with that, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. As long as you're able to just reborn your monsters and just go ham on your opponent with the Xyz or infusion or whatever they have, whatever this archetype may have. It could be Xyz monsters for all we know. That ain't too bad. It's not too bad. It's a way to not with this archetype. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make an archetype where it gives you board advantage, protection. Whoa. Sorry guys, I accidentally hit my desk. It gives you board advantage, protection, and it enables you draw power each turn, which is not too bad. And I think there's only a few cards left to talk about, unfortunately. But yeah, basically it just helps ensure that you're able to go full combo with a card like, say, Melting, with Melting Snow. But the main combo starter of this whole archetype is Hills and Blooms because of the fact that it's a Stratos for the archetype. So it's really cool that if you opened up with all 4 of these monsters, not only would you have a Stratos effect, you would also have a Foolish Burial effect. You would also have a Graveyard Stratos, so to speak, a reincarnation effect, and you're able to draw a card. So it acts as like you didn't even send any cards to your hand, from your hand to your graveyard, anything, which is pretty nice, Excuse me. And then the second effect of our Winnie the Pooh says you can target one Vernalizer Fairy monster control. It can make a second attack during each battle phase of the turn. So it's not too bad. Being able to just attack twice, not too bad. It depends on the board state, honestly. But now for the only spell that's in this archetype as of now, until we get new cards for the archetype, which I don't know when, honestly, but we'll see. We'll see. We have Flower Crown of the Vernalizer Fairy, which is a continuous spell, and the effect and there are two effects. First effect reads: Earth monsters you control are also treated as Vernalizer Fairy monsters. So this is an even better way to ensure that you get more and more plays for your to just go full combo and get your Xyz plays out if you were running Xyz or synchros, depending on what you want, depending on the route you want to take. So that's actually not too bad. The second effect reads: once per turn, if a Vernalizer Fairy monster in your hand would discard itself and one other card to activate its effect, you can discard only itself instead. So this is a great way. So this is a great way to give you even more hand advantage over your opponent, when all you gotta do is just discard the monster itself, and that's it. That's it. So with this card, it would only come as a 1-for-1, depending on which one you discard, which is really good. So this is the second combo starter for the entire deck, which is really good. This is definitely a 3 of. As far as the monsters go, I would say Hills and Blooms could be a 3 of. Forests and Awakening would be probably a 2 of. Flowers and Fields can also be a 2, and then Mountains and Melting Snow could probably be a 1 of. It depends on how you want to build it, but I would say this would probably be maybe a 1 or a 2 of. But the spell itself, Flower Crown, definitely a 3 of. You're gonna want at least 3 copies of this, as just in case if one gets destroyed, you have spares. Plain and simple. But next up we have Calendar Rotation of the Vernalizer Fairy, which is a normal trap, and it has two effects, and both effects are once per turn. First effect reads: target one Vernalizer Fairy monster in your grave, either add it to your hand or special summon it. So it's basically their Monster Reborn, which is really good. It can either be a Monster Reborn or a Monster Reincarnation, depending on how you want to use it. And then the second effect reads: during your opponent's turn, except the turn this card was sent to the grave. If you have no cards in your hand, you can banish the card from your grave, special summon as many Vernalizer Fairy monsters with different names as possible from your grave, but return them to the hand during the end phase. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I mean, being able to just resummon all 4 monsters and then compulse them back to the hand, that's not too bad. That's actually really good. It's a way to give you even more hand advantage over your opponent and give you more board presence to just go full combo, which is really good. Which is really, really good. Now for the last card that I'm going to talk about in this video, we have Fertilizer Fairy and Flower Buds, which is a normal trap, and its effect reads: you can only activate 1 card with the card's name per turn. Target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Earth monsters you control with different names that were special summoned from the graveyard. Return to the hand an Earth monster you control for each target, and if you do, return the targeted cards to the hand. So it basically acts as a compulse for the entire archetype, which is really good. You're able to just bounce your opponent's cards back to their hand, and if their board was Xyz monsters, they're gonna have a hard time recommitting to their board, and if you add, and if you have a Nibiru in your hand, they're pretty much just fucked. They're pretty much fucked. So, yeah, that's pretty insane. So my thoughts on this archetype. Honestly, I love it. I love the way I love it because it acts as it looks like something out of a kid's book. Out of like something like Winnie the Pooh or some sort of like or like Peter Pan. Because of the fact that Hills and Blooms kind of looks like Tinkerbell. Kind of looks like Tinkerbell just a little bit, but the only difference is that Tinkerbell wore a green dress of sorts. This one's pink. So yeah, kind of like Tinkerbell just a little bit in my honest opinion. But honestly, I like it. I like it because of the fact that this deck could very may well be the new meta as we go into as we draw closer to power of the elements. We'll be able to potentially get new cards for this archetype, and you never know what kind of cards we'll get. We might get a card that enables like a Pot of Greed effect or something like that, or something that just wipes out your opponent's back row or something like that. It's a possibility, but only time will tell. We don't really know. But that brings me to the question of the day. What are your guys' thoughts on this archetype? Let me know in the comments below. And that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want to see more Yu-Gi-Oh news videos, which get posted every Tuesday typically, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. The links will be in the description below. And if you guys have any fan mail you guys want to send me, you guys want me to open it up on the channel, the info will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.